Hello, it's me again. I'm sick again. I don't know what happened. I just spent the last 2 weeks sick. I was healthy like 2 days, and now I'm sick again. I think it's because I didn't rest like I should, and I'm trying not to get bronchitis. Um, because I'm getting that tight chest drowning feeling, but I don't have a fever yet. And my sinuses are going nuts. So I could also be allergic to something. I don't know. Spokane's a lot different than Whatcom County, so there's a lot of potential stuff that could be going on. Um, so hopefully I'm getting to feel better. I did learn that if I need groceries, I should send John because he'll actually do it and he won't spend like all my money. The last time I sent him, he only spent like I think he said $50, and he got almost everything I put on the list. And I'd given him options in case the store didn't have everything. But he got almost everything on the list plus a few things for himself and only spent like $50, and that's like good in this economy. That's really good. So yeah, I should send John if I need groceries. um, and I can't do it myself, but I am actually feeling better. Um, I think I might try a trip tomorrow. Because I think the fresh air is actually helping me feel better, but I don't. But at the same time, I don't want to get freezer um ice crystals in my chest. I'm drinking my coffee. My schedule's off a little bit today. Waiting for the garbage truck to get the other can. So recycling showed up, the garbage didn't. Who knew? Um, but today, oh yeah, yesterday I got an $80 sale. Woo. So after fees and everything, I still need like $2 to make booth costs, but that's still great. I was so worried that I wasn't gonna get any sales, and then all of a sudden, boom, that one. So I might do some posts after finishing up some more of the smaller Hello Kitty dolls, and um for the marketplace. My Famous Joe's is really great about working with us, and they're actually encouraging us to use sites like Facebook Market um, to advertise the stuff and things about Famous Joe's. And if somebody wants to find the wants to know where they're at, I can get the address and kind of tell them like how I get there, but I don't get there very often, so I'm probably not gonna know how to tell a driver how to get there. But yeah, I can give them an address, and with apps and stuff today, they can probably find it pretty easily. Oh, that's good. Good coffee. Yeah, coffee helps with my bronchioles because caffeine is a natural bronchial dilator, and coffee has a lot of caffeine, and being distributed hot is probably the best way to do it. So yeah, but in a pinch, if your kid has asthma, you can give them a soda because we actually did that for somebody once and it worked. Don't ask me how. She got home, we got the kid's inhaler, was able to get her to the doctor before anything weird happened, but the soda actually worked, so that was good. Woohoo! I'm not saying to do that all the time, but like in an emergency pinch, because caffeine is a bronchodilator, and you want to make sure that whatever you're giving the asthmatic person, soda, coffee, tea, whatever actually has caffeine in it. And you wouldn't want to be giving it to them in place of their medications. That's asthma can get weird fast, so you need to go to a doctor if it's happening a lot. If you're like me and it only happens once in a while, or it gets really bad when you're sick, then you might not need to go to the doctor unless you're sick. Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna talk about some stuff because my son says that some agency, I haven't seen the post, so I don't know if it's true or not, so don't even get on me if it's not. Whatever agency that he follows has said that we are technically in a depression, and it does have a financial economic depression, and it does have to do with a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. There's a lot of like crazy crap going on right now. So that's kind of what happened with the Great Depression. You get the Dust Bowl kicking up, and it killed off all the plants along with other stuff going on in other areas of the world, and it just like devastated the economy. So, and that's what we're seeing here. Only now it's more, the Dust Bowl is kicking back up, but it doesn't seem to be as bad as it was during the Depression. Um, but that oh yeah, and the stock market crashed at the same time. So yeah, there's lots of things we can do to keep ourselves afloat. One of the things is making sure that your important stuff is paid, because the most important stuff to worry about during any kind of an economic crisis, whether it be a recession or depression or just your personal crisis, is you got to make sure that the bills are paid. You got to put rent. You got to make sure all the rent, the lights, the whatever that keeps the house going. If you pay water, sewer, garbage, you pay it. You make sure that stuff's getting paid. Um, so that you can keep a safe roof over your head and your family's heads. And then you worry about things like putting food on the table and then making sure that people have appropriate clothing and whatever needs they might have for school or work or whatever. That's how it is. It's keep the house, then the essentials, then after you dealt with all of your essentials, like, that would be like also medications if somebody's sick and, even NyQuil in the house just in case because there's so many bugs going around right now. That's our big problem right now is what's killing me today. Um, as far as I know, what I'm dealing with is not COVID, but it could be. I've been vaccinated, so it wouldn't affect me as badly. Um, uh, but it could be. That could be why it came back. But there are other viruses that do the same thing, and especially with somebody like me who's not well. I'm not well to begin with. My immune system has never worked properly. I um I can get sick easier. I can get the same fucking shit twice, and I think it was a combination of going out into the cold too soon. Maybe I wasn't fully healed, and that I didn't rest. I didn't take it easy like I should have. Um, that's also a combination. Like when you get sick, you gotta rest. That's the other thing is you gotta rest. And it's okay to job hop if there's something wrong with the job. Like my son-in-law just left a really good paying job because they wouldn't let him rest. He was getting ridiculous overtime. He was getting like 60, 80 hours a week. And though he liked the money, he wasn't getting any sleep. He'd sleep all his days off. He'd just sleep the whole time because he's just exhausted from working so much. So though he liked making all that money, um, he actually wants to enjoy his life, so he went to a different job. He went to Walmart, I believe it was, um, where the pay's less, but he's not. They're not demanding overtime, and they're actually going to let him have hours so that he can get his insurance, so that he can keep on top of some of his weird ass health issues. Because he also has weird ass health issues. So it kind of fits. They're talking about maybe having a kid in a little bit, and when I say a little bit, I'm talking a few years, sometime in the next few years. 'Cause they don't, yeah, they don't know. And we were talking about hoping for a girl because in both families it seems like girls are healthier. And it's not that we'd be like, oh man, it's nasty boy, because that's not how we would be. It's just we deal with it. And they're also lucky that they've got parents, because I know what my family history is, and his mom had to deal with what the hell was going on with him when he was little. So between the two of us, we can figure it out. Um, it'll be fine, but we'd still prefer a girl just because the girls seem to be healthier on both families. The girls seem to be healthier. Um, and that's the only thing. So we love the boy. We take care of the boy. He'll be frustrating like Eli was. Um, Speaking of the devil. I don't like how that happens. I said his name and he just walks by the door. I might be being a little too loud, but hopefully I won't be on here much longer. Uh, but yeah, you want to make sure you've got a job where you can handle going to work every day. You want to make sure you don't have a lot of extras. Um, and then when you got all your stuff taken care of, your important stuff, that's when you do the extra, because the seeding economy, what I call seeding the economy, is actually going to help us come up out of this. And we may need to do some focusing on American jobs, American business, American made, American affected type stuff. So, good ideas for being able to get necessities without breaking the bank is things like secondhand stores or resale shops. A lot of the secondhand stores back some sort of a charity, like Goodwill has a jobs program, and it's actually really good. They help you with all kinds of stuff. You can even get an education. They can help you get your GED and other forms of education so that you can have the experience or background that the boss is looking for. Um, then there's was it Value Village back some kind of disability charity? I think it's specifically Down syndrome, but they were telling me autistics can still get help through that, but and it wasn't able to get anything when I tried, but at the time there were like people moving into the area because they had programs for disabled people, so they just might not have had enough money to do anything other than Downs. But anyway, look into like your local um, secondhand stores to see if they're what they do with the funding that they earn. It also provides jobs for people just that these businesses are open. And then like resale or antique or flea market type shops, you're actually a lot of the times they'll have something similar to what I have, where either the store buys the items for like super cheap and then they sell them to the public, or um, or they have like a system like I'm on where you have a vendor number and or booth number, and you pay booth cost or vendor cost, whatever the set cost is, and then sometimes there'll be a percentage or it'll just be the percentage, because like I had a booth where it was 60/40. I got 60, they got 40. That was working out really great for me. Like that was back in Arkansas though. And then also, so it's like these types of places, they don't know where the items come from originally, but they're actually at this point, you're actually supporting people in your community who may be struggling or not really have another way of working. And like me, I'm disabled and I'm a crafter and I'm selling the things that I make. Because that's pretty much the only income I have right now while I'm fighting with Social Security, and I don't even know what's going to happen with that. I'm very worried that they're just going to keep trying to claim that I don't exist or that I'm not really disabled or I'm not who I say I am. I don't really know. Like I said, that could have been legal mumbo jumbo because Social Security and other government agencies love to make up their own terms just to confuse the living shit out of you, which is part of the reason why you need an attorney for Social Security. You have to get denied. Like you apply like you're supposed to, and then you get denied, and then you get an attorney because it's really difficult to get on without one. Um, I've heard people say they've done it, but I don't know what programs they're actually eligible for. So it is possible that they were more eligible for something like retirement um, than it is that they're eligible for something like disability. Retirement's different than disability, and I don't really know how that works. So, like I said, I don't have all the degrees I need. I might need more coffee. Yeah, and like at least one of the other tenants that are booth the vendor people that I work with, um, is a landlord, and they frequently sell off the stuff that people don't take with them. And I've been getting a lot of yarn from that lady because one of her tenants passed away and they can't get hold of their family, and it turns out she was a yarn hoarder. So she's selling off all this old yarn like super cheap, and I'm telling John, yeah, check for that. Check and see if she's got any good yarn. Um, because it's only like $1 or $2 a skein, so that's like, yeah. And she's selling a lot of it. I don't even know if she still has it, but that's like something I'll do. And like for me, when I do buy yarn, it doesn't matter where the yarn itself is made because I've gotten some that's made in India. And with all the scams coming out of India because of how broke busted that country is, I just I'd rather have a legitimate purchase of something that was somebody was legitimately paid to make than have some guy call grandma to find out if he can steal her money. Um, but then I make the stuff here in the US, so the stuff is made in the US. It's made in Spokane. I can do deals. I can work with people. I can even ship it if you want. But I haven't been doing a lot of work online because I'm not getting any sales online, and I have to just keep doing these events that take up my time. And then I've got people bugging me about not doing this, not doing that. Yeah, the online one became too much. It wasn't like I was the only one there, and if I scheduled it while all the other family members were home, I'd be stuck doing the event instead of whatever, you know. Um, so yeah, it just takes the online sales was just taking too much of my time, and I wasn't getting enough sales. So that was that was part of the reason I stopped doing that. And Etsy, I don't know, they went corporate, so now it's like $90 a month no matter what. I can't afford that. I don't think anybody can afford that unless they're pump selling. A lot of people have left Etsy for the same reason. Like, we're just trying to eat, dude. What you doing? You know, but with the exorbitant fees that they have now, I couldn't even afford shipping. They don't want you to charge for shipping, and I couldn't afford the shipping because I take over half my earnings. That was just disgusting. So I stopped doing it. Um, I can't afford that. So, but I am doing the Famous Joe's. The Famous Joe's works out pretty good. Most of the time I get a check. It's not a huge check, but most of the time I get a check, and it's it's good. So the people there are really nice. Even the other vendors are really nice. It's like a family. It feels like you belong there. Um, I wish I could get there more, but I can't. It's not real mobile. So, especially right now, I probably shouldn't be getting out too much with me being sick like this because I don't know what I'm sick with. Um, it could be COVID, it could be a virus, it could be any number of things. It could just be my stupid system going because it does that. Um, that just happens. Um, Being somebody with a crappy immune system is not fun, and I hate it when people start saying, "Well, I didn't get sick like that, so you're faking," or something like that, because you didn't get sick like that because your immune system works. Not everybody's that lucky, buddy. And we got a friend that doesn't have an active immune system, so he doesn't, and you don't know you're sick until you get the immune response. And if your immune system's not working, you're not gonna get an immune response, or you're gonna get a psychotic immune response. So yeah, that can be really bad. So yeah, I'm trying to think of the other stuff I was thinking about for the financial stuff because yeah, if you're taking care of all your stuff, trying to stay on track. My brain is mush. Um, if you get all your stuff taken care of and your family has what you want, and you actually have a little bit of a buffer, because that's the next thing, to put some money into savings in case something happens. Um, you have a little bit of a buffer. Um, I don't know what to do about the stock market right now. It might have to be a rich person thing. Um, because like one of the things we're gonna need is for some of the rich people to decide to let go of some of their wealth, and I don't know what that's gonna look like. But other than that, it should happen. I don't know if they're gonna be philanthropists and they're just gonna be like, we're gonna do this and that. We're gonna support this agency. We're gonna build this apartment complex and have like cheap rent, or if it looks like somebody going to individual on behalf of a rich person going, yeah, I'm gonna help you out with this situation, pay your debts, buy you a house, something like that. Um, because that's part of the reason we got out of the Great Depression in the first place. There were philanthropists, and the Rockefeller guy was one of them, and I think J.P. Morgan might have invested in that type of stuff, but they weren't giving them tons of money. They had like envelopes with like $1,000, and that was a lot back then. That would probably help a lot now. But like just that's part of what helped us get out of the Great Depression was that there were people that were willing to let go of their money. I mean, people who had a lot. I mean, like, if you don't have a lot, you can't let go of a lot. And, like, the other thing I should mention, since my roommate's been having a problem with this with his family, is if you can't afford to take care of yourself or you're barely scraping by, don't give your money to that one relative that's always needing money. Because the reason they're always needing money probably isn't anything good. They're either too lazy to work or they got a drug problem or something else. If they're disabled, it's a completely different story, but you might want to like bring them into your house so that it's less of a, or bring them into somebody's house so that it's less of a problem. You know what I mean? Like, have them somewhere where you can keep tabs on them at the very least. Because, like, with me and John's mom, my son-in-law's mom, um, we know we aren't going to be able to get a job. We know people don't take us seriously. We know we're going to struggle with even trying to get the slightest of help. We're actually willing to live with our kids. Um, and we're gonna do our best to help out around the house and stuff like that, which I can't because I'm disabled. But John's mom isn't got the same problems. There's something wrong with her hand, um, and she's got a questionable backstory. So if she comes, she might just like clean the house and stuff, and then hopefully I'll have money by then or some kind of income by then, and we can just help each other out there. I gotta figure out how to get my stupid ID fixed, and um, but yeah, just zoned out. Yeah, all that stuff. Like, yeah, but don't you get that person that acts like they're a druggie or they're just always needing something because they won't go to work or something like that. The lights are on but nobody's home kind of thing, and that they don't want to work with the reality of the situation. Then don't give them money. Don't, because that they're just gonna keep coming back and they're gonna want more and 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 more until they've completely drained you. Because people like that are they're just vampires. They're financial vampires. I don't know if I just made that up or if somebody else said that, but it's kind of the vampire story where he comes back and drinks your blood, and they don't necessarily kill you, but they keep biting you, and then you get sick and all this stuff. And I know that's an old theory, and people didn't understand germs and shit. So, but yeah, that's kind of how it feels like, that they're just constantly needing money and they're just draining you. Um, if you can't afford to put food on your table, you can't afford to support this other person. That's pretty much what I'm saying. And I'm not saying be cruel. I'm just saying, yeah, you can only do what one person can only do what one person can do. And if this person is constantly needing money, you're constantly coming up with this, yeah, that's a potential problem. And you know, and I don't be hateful. Just don't give them the money. If you can't afford to support this other person on their terms, then you can't help them. And they may need to realize that they need to be able to accept help on someone else's terms, which is, like I'm saying, me and my my son-in-law's mom are in a very precarious situation. We know that there's little to nothing we can do about it, but we are actually willing to mitigate, I guess is the right word, the circumstances so that we're not draining the shit out of our children. Um, if we're living in the same house, then that helps with the expenses. And then we pretty much just need basic expenses, maybe some craft supplies, maybe some shampoo, maybe some, in her case, some beer or whatever it is that she drinks. But yeah, a little alcohol, that kind of stuff. It's not not the end of the world. So you live with somebody else, you can make your needs cheaper, and then people can, and then you'll be able to afford more things. And that's also something um, that people might have to look into anyways, is having other people living with them or living with other people, especially if you're single, because the way the rents in the US are ridiculously high. So how are you gonna pay for yourself if you so you get in with a group of people, make sure that they're good people, because you'll get driven crazy every damn day if they're not, and also be able to afford to kick that one guy out if he is a jerk, because you don't need that kind of stress. Um, yeah, but yeah, yeah, there's a lot of things that people can do. There's probably more stuff that I'm not even thinking of because I don't understand things like business, like the seeding the economy thing. I think I've spent a little bit too much time on the don't support your loser, because everybody knows what I'm talking about with that. Because I think everybody has at least that one relative that's a total loser and they never seem to be able to do anything right and they don't take advice and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about, or gal in some cases, like my mom, my roomie's mom. Um, Yeah, don't be overly eager to support people who don't understand reality and won't work within the circumstances that actually will function. Because I think everybody knows that. But like those things, like secondhand clothes are fine. You don't need to spend a ridiculous amount on Armani and God, what is it, Calvin Klein? Did I just state myself? I don't know. Whatever the big fancy, whatever expensive, ridiculous. You don't need to buy that stuff. You just need appropriate clothing. And here in Spokane, it's even more important because we're in kind of like a valley between two mountain ranges. We get the weirdest weather ever. So you need to make sure you have winter clothing and you need to make sure you have summer clothing because we get temperatures in the summer that can show up in the south, and then we get temperatures in the winter that show up in Alaska. So I don't. Yeah, this is a weird spot. You're gonna need a nice ranging wardrobe to live in an area like this. And you might even need a little bit of a range in your wardrobe, even if you're in the South, because especially the last couple of years, the South has been having some weird ass winter weather. So, yeah, and the tornadoes, I hope everybody's okay from tornadoes, but I know how tornadoes work, so they're probably not. Um, but, yeah, and then, like, the other thing is, um, if you can do charity, be very careful about who you're giving money to because there's going to be a lot more cons going on now that people are becoming more desperate, and there's going to be a lot more con activity, things like and they're probably going to get the people that think you can lose weight eating gummy bears, hmm or drinking a shake. Yeah, that's where the con's going to hit the hardest. Um the people that think that stuff, I mean, I'd like to lose weight, but I don't think eating a gummy bears are gonna do anything for me. Plus I don't know what they put in those gummy bears, and that's the other thing is like I have to be more careful with what's going into my body. Um, because it doesn't function properly and I don't want to die because I'm allergic to some shit that I didn't even know was in there. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm aware that I have that problem, and I don't know if a lot of other people are aware, but yeah, there's going to be a lot more cons. You're going to hear about fake companies looking for people to buy stock. You're going to hear about the guy from India, of course, that calls and says, "Hey, this happened," and blah blah blah. And and yeah, it's just there's a lot of stuff that's potentially going on right now, no matter what the actual financial climate statement is. So you have to be really careful and like I said, be careful about charities because I'd love to help out with the stuff with Turkey and Syria, but I don't even know if there's a valid charity. The only valid charity I've heard of so far is that Anderton's, which is a music supply store in England, is doing some kind of raffle for a guitar that I'm not interested in, but and they're supposed to take that money and send it to that area. But I haven't heard of anybody else, and I don't want to have to buy a raffle ticket for a guitar I don't want. Um, that's just that's just the thing. But if I do get some money, enough money to really start doing things, I might try and pick my charity. I'm people are gonna do GoFundMe as well, but also be careful because there might be some scammers on the GoFundMe. There's gonna be scammers like all over the place because people are desperate and it's crazy. But yeah, like we all know that if some of the rich people get let go of their money, that'll help a lot, but it might not be enough, even if they give up all their money. Like if Bill Gates contacts a whole bunch of poor people and spends all of his money buying things for poor people that will keep them afloat for a while, then he could still get rid of all that money and there'd still be a lot of problems because there's so many problems right now. And I mentioned Bill Gates because I'm technically his cousin, I think. There's a lot of us that can claim that. I did the math and we're not closely related, so don't worry. I don't think I'm going to inherit anything at all, ever. If I'm real lucky, he might get a hold of me and go, "Hey, can I help you?" But I did the math, and we're somewhere like between like fifth and 12th cousins, depending on how his dad is related to my dad's family. Which that's not close. It only gives me bragging rights. It doesn't give me any other rights or things like that. So yeah, but if if somebody like that did approach me and go, hey, let's figure this out, I would probably want to talk to them about opening a business that provides jobs specifically for disabled people. And then we would talk about what kind of business that would be, because I think something along the lines of ceramics or assembly work, or maybe just a company that actually sells handmade items that are made by the disabled and elderly people. That would be a good idea if we could get a company like that going. I've thought about that for a while because disabled people always get the crap shit of everything, um, and we don't deserve that. We deserve a little bit better. We deserve some dignity in our lives. Even if we have to be poor because we can't do what other people do, we should still have some outlet for things. But yeah, if somebody that has the monies or the know-how to do something like that watches this and wants to contact me, I'm cool with that. Um, I feel like I'm living in an area where that would be a thing. People might actually take that type of thing seriously if they had some kind of job where we're making something and or selling stuff that poor people made. That the impoverished people, disabled people made would be a good idea. And I think it would do well here. And I think it might be able to do well across, we might actually be able to spread out and do this kind of stuff. But we would also, if we're doing things like, gotta do realize that what we're doing, if we're doing things that are actually going to sell, we're probably going to have to be careful who we actually hire. And then the company can probably have a charity base for those who can't work. I mean, like, because you don't want a person whose IQ is like 60 running a kiln because they'll hurt themselves or they'll hurt somebody else. So they'll burn down the whole damn block. That's and you can't even really blame them because if you let somebody that dumb do the that you knew was that disabled do the kiln, then that's your problem. Yeah, and you probably also, if it's a sewing machine type thing, you might want to be careful who's doing the sewing machines because again, you put somebody with a really low IQ on a sewing machine and they get hurt or somebody else gets hurt or some weird shit happens, that's on you. Um, but yeah, still would like to do something like that, like maybe ceramics, have like more capable people doing the cleaning up and then um doing the stuff, the more capable disabled people, because I can still technically work. I just can't work under the the way that jobs tend to like to do today. I can't do that. I can't work under those circumstances. I can't. And if I could get like a job where I could like show up and relax and do what needs to be done, then that'd be fine. That would be fine for me. Um, but yeah, it's just ideas. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this that's even care or if I'm even interesting enough to track enough attention. Um, but yeah, that's an idea I've had for a while is to do some kind of company where you can employ disabled people specifically. I know they do something like that in the South. I don't really, they're not really making anything. I think it's like a recycling plant or like a secondhand store or something like that. But they do stuff like that in the South where it's deliberately so that people who have limited capacities but are still functional can actually work. And that'd be really cool if we could set something like that up here. It might even help the homeless population. And they're still out in the field. They've been telling us for months that they're going to get rid of these people and put them somewhere safe. They're still out in the field. It turns out it's actually more dangerous to be at the shelter than it is to be out in that field because nobody did any type of checks or anything. There's no getting in trouble. There's these people. So oh my god. So it's just disgustingly vile over there at the shelter. So nobody wants to go to the shelter. They'd rather sleep in the field. How the hell do you do that? I don't know. Maybe smarter people need to take over this charity. I don't know. Because if it was me, you get caught doing drugs. You go to a public shelter, you have to have rules. No drinking, no drugs, no this, no that, no violence, no anything. Just no violence. If you even think it looks like violence, it's violence. None of it. Strict rules. You have to have strict rules, especially when you're trying to put questionable people into some sort of a shelter. Um, and I don't know how long to ban them or make them do stuff that they don't want to do, like rehab or counseling or whatever. Um, But I don't know why we don't make people do that, because these people, the really sad thing about the homeless population that's like really close to my house is that these people are not in their right mind. They cannot make decisions for themselves. They are a danger, at least technically, to themselves and others, and they are getting no help at all. We used to be able to put people like that into programs, or the judges would be like, hey, it's jail or it's rehab. And they don't really do that anymore. Or at least I'm not hearing about that anymore, so I don't know what's going on with that. That we need to kind of bring that away. This people are getting ridiculous about not violating rights. What about the rights of the people that are getting hurt because you don't want to put this guy where he belongs? You can't protect everybody all the time. So you got to go by who's, I don't want to say more deserving, but you know what I mean, but who's actually acting like they deserve privileges, we'll say. Because I think rights are very different from privileges, and I think one of the problems we're having right now is that people don't understand the difference between rights and privileges. So yeah, like who is deserving of privileges and who is not is more like how we have to look at it. Because you have the right, you do have rights. Some of them are legally given, and some of them are just because you're alive. But like I said, a lot of people have a hard time telling the difference between rights and privileges these days. So, um, yeah, and I don't know what to do about that. It's just like, yeah, maybe I can't. Maybe I can't. But I'm noticing this is getting long. So yeah, if you if we really are in a depression, keep in mind that um, buying secondhand isn't shameful. Making support because you are providing for your family in the best way possible. Also, people, I've seen this a lot on the market. Secondhand items need secondhand prices. Because I see yarn on sale on Facebook Market and the market, and they're charging more than you could spend to buy it brand new at the store. What? And there's like shit tons because everybody's getting rid of the crafting supplies that they got when they went into quarantine because they thought they were going to learn a skill and they didn't. For whatever reason, they didn't. So, yeah, make that stuff cheaper. I get you need to pay your bills. Selling stuff on secondhand on markets like that is a good idea. Just also be careful about scams because there's scams both ways. People saying they're selling stuff that doesn't belong to them, and people saying they want to purchase, they're just trying to steal it from you. You gotta watch out for that. It happens all the time. When things get tough, that's gonna happen more. But yeah, I'm running a little long and I'm not that interesting, so, or at least I don't think I am. So yeah, I hope everybody's safe and warm and okay, and I hope that we can figure out how to pull ourselves out of this financial nosedive, because we can. We just have to do the things that we need to do. Um, I just I just don't understand enough about how all this shit works to know what all that stuff is. So there we go. I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm gonna work more on getting stuff done, and then hopefully I can get some more kitties done, and I can post the post for the Easter so that I can get more of my work out there so people can actually see what I'm making. So I'll talk to you guys later and have a great day. Bye.